Hello team, so here we are again. Not to be outdone by my little brother, it appears I owe you another installment. I'm Matt from Team Red Shirt Media. Like, share and subscribe to the channel. Grab yourself a cuppa, put up your feet and join me as I bring you more great moments in bad movies. Why wasn't this the movie? X-Men Origins, Wolverine. What can you say about this movie? It has a poor plot, terrible misuse of Gambit, atrocious special effects, and an irredeemable screw-up of the Deadpool character.
Hey, it's me!
Oh, thank God. Anyway, enough bashing, let's talk about that opening sequence. It's an action-packed montage showing Logan and Victor fighting in pretty much every armed conflict of the past 200 years, culminating in the two of them getting up to some questionable stuff in Vietnam, for which they get put in front of a firing squad. Not only is this sequence visually impressive thanks to some great action, but it also tells a story. As time goes on, you see Logan and his brother's relationship diverging as the latter gets more vicious and sadistic. It sets up an eventual wedge between them and provides actual context for some of the decisions that Wolverine makes throughout the rest of the movie. Quite frankly, this would have made a way more interesting movie than the one we got. Raul Julia steals the show, Street Fighter. When it comes to movie adaptations of popular video games, we are still waiting for a smash hit. Super Mario Bros., Max Payne, and Assassin's Creed are prime examples of such failures. When a movie version of the simplistic 2D Street Fighter was announced, people generally had no idea what to expect. The 1991 video game had many characters to build a story around. So who did they choose, you ask? Everyone! Originally, this adaptation was aimed exclusively to the fans of the game. It was, however, modified during pre-production in order to appeal to a wider audience.
You're joking.
Probably the most bizarre aspect of the movie was some of the casting choices that resulted in drastically altering the source material. Choices like changing the Japanese sumo wrestling E Honda into a Hawaiian media employee, and it does not end there. We have a British Secret Service agent played by Australian pop singer Kylie Minogue, whose most notably acting credential at the time was Neighbours. The most bizarre change wasn't actually that far from the game. Jean-Claude Van Damme as the hunky, flat-topped American Special Forces ninja seems like a great idea on paper.
Get on my board.
I mean, what were they thinking? Not to bash on the casting crew totally, they did manage some great casting as well. Many would have forgotten this film entirely if it wasn't for Raul Julia in his last ever role, which unexpectedly results him in outright stealing the show with his performance of M Bison. The film is filled with some of the best cheese in cinematic history, most of it supplied by Julia. His greatest moment, however, comes in a monologue he gives to Chun-Li. As she divulges some exposition about Bison's sordid past, he proceeds to woo us with his best Hugh Hefner impression, at which point she tells him that he was the murderer of her father. And his response?
I'm sorry. I don't remember any of it.
Upset, she says, "You don't remember?" And as he walks over to her, with freshly made drinks in hand, he tells her this.
For you, the day Bison graced your village was the most important day of your life. But for me, it was Tuesday.
A near perfect moment in an otherwise ludicrous film.
Game over!
Intruder destroyed.
The Birth of Sandman, Spider-Man 3. The first two installments of Sam Raimi's Spider-Man trilogy were comic book gold, with some saying the sequel does something most sequels cannot say, eclipse the original. Making over 1.6 billion worldwide, you could say Sam Raimi knew what he was doing. Unfortunately, the studio execs did not agree and wanted more. Artistic vision be damned, it is a business after all. Spider-Man 3 suffered many missteps. The melodrama between Peter and MJ, the insane jazz dancing, and the unnecessary shoehorning of Venom into the plot by studio bigwigs. It was obvious that this last-minute addition of Venom, basically to sell toys, annoyed Raimi and resulted in the character being poorly executed. However, Raimi's handling of the Sandman showed true passion. Receiving a sympathetic pathos as the criminal who just wants to save his daughter, he gets his body fused with sand as a result of some wacky experimental fusion accelerator and an H&S fiasco waiting to happen. Thomas Hayden Church was also an inspired choice for the character. underplaying him in a film that was chocked with melodrama. The standout scene, however, must be his transformation into the Sandman. It might even be the best scene in the whole trilogy. Even though he knows he has become a freak of nature, he barely gives himself time to grieve as the picture of his daughter wakes him up to the realization that he has a job to do and that he cannot let anything stop him. The beautiful music when the Sandman rises and takes control of his powers sends chills down your neck. This scene alone makes up for all the bad Peter Parker jazz dancing. Okay, maybe not. Clark kills Superman, Superman 3. After Superman is exposed to synthetic kryptonite, he basically becomes a bit of a dick. Most of the things he does are more juvenile than dangerous. Well, except the tanker incident. Let's not talk about that. This all leads to Superman hitting the bar and getting absolutely hammered. Obviously struggling with his new persona, he ends up in the junkyard and Clark Kent emerges from him. The two of them then have an epic throwdown. The fight itself is well choreographed, and the fact that Christopher Reeve does not have a twin, the hiding of the stunt double is very well done. It is not over graphic and flows at a decent pace. The use of the over-the-shoulder cuts to show Reeve playing both characters goes a long way to selling that it is the same person. The music used during the fight sets the mood perfectly, and at any time you feel either character could win this fight. Both Superman and Clark have the upper hand at times, but it finally looks like the evil Superman has won until Clark bursts out of the crusher and then strangles his alter ego to death. We then have Clark stand to the swell of the Superman score and reveal the OG Superman crest, signifying that good has triumphed over evil. The greatness of the scene though is in the subtext, that this is an internal struggle that Kal-El is dealing with. Mental health isn't the easiest thing to depict on film, but having what makes Kal-El good, the wholesome Clark Kent, fight against him is a great depiction of what he's going through. It's just a pity not as much care and attention went into writing the rest of the script. The new and improved Robocop, Robocop 2. So to leave you on a high and a smile on your face, we have a clip from the poor sequel to 1987's Robocop, Robocop 2. To replicate the success of Alex Murphy, OCP are trying to create a new and improved Robocop. This short clip of 2 attempts that fail in epic proportion is comic gold. With this first attempt, the robot shoots 2 of the staff, then blows its brains out. The second attempt then does its best Army of Darkness impression. Absolutely comic gold. Well, there you go, folks. More great moments in bad movies. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Also, leave me a comment of any other great moments in bad movies that you can think of that I should cover. And until next time,
Game